Aloha, Mark J, world's laziest networker, coming to you from beautiful Kauai, Hawaii, today in the bedroom and office instead of out in front of the ocean. And the reason that is because I had a chance to hook up with Sean Graham. Now, Sean's one of those people that I met through network marketing, and the relationship has flourished way past network marketing. Things that we have in common are the New England Patriots. Even though he lives in Atlanta, he's a Patriot fan, which is great if you're football fans. You understand that. But basically, Sean's background is pretty interesting because it's sort of parallel to what we do in network marketing. And he's going to give us a couple of tips today. But he grew up in the health and nutrition club sort of industry, you know, people working out. His father brought him in through that industry, and he eventually opened a consulting firm. It had 14 clients, gyms, with over 200,000 members, doing how many millions?
They were doing collectively just under 20 million a year in revenue.
Yeah, 20 million a year in revenue. So he knows about organizing, and of course, gyms are like distributors. You know, they come and they go, and every month it's trying to recruit new people in. So, Sean, welcome to this little sort of new technology we have. You know, you and I grew up as belly button guys, and we've had some frustrating and fun times trying to connect on that. You're with Send Out Cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long have you been with them?
Going on 6 years in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that, and how, you know, tell us sort of the story, you know, how was it the first year or two, and, you know, how is it now? And then maybe we can talk about your one or two key tips about how you made that transition from frustration in network marketing to flourishing in network marketing.
I appreciate that, Mark. We, first 2 years, 2.5 years were a little bit frustrating. The first 6 months was phenomenal. Father got me involved in direct selling network marketing when I was a kid. Spent 5 years really part-time. Felt a nice little check while I was running around playing racquetball and selling supplements, and had no idea what I was doing. Got out of it for 15 years, which is probably financially the biggest mistake I've ever made. And then Father got me back in when I lost a couple of high-paying clients. You know, I had that need to work from home, had a child, you know, get going again. And it was actually not Send Out Cards that we got introduced to. We had a very close family friend of 40 years, big hitter in another company, was pitched an opportunity, said, I got to get you to Sean and Paul. And we loved the mission. It was helping people, very, very unique. And we did really well because I had no idea what we're doing other than enthusiastic. We're selling a product. Who else wants to sell it with us? And the company went belly up. It was a brand new startup, got into day number 2. And then I went looking again hard. I mean, I was like actively looking for a job. I was looking for a direct sales opportunity. And fortunately, I remembered someone had sent me a card in the mail. We met on LinkedIn. Said, you're a health club guy, you need to use this really cool product. And in my genius, prior to A.K.A, I said, how good could that be? I know everything already. And I went back, found that card, contacted her, looked at the field leadership, signed up, did great for 6 months because I'm very excited about the product and helping people, and, you know, the heart mission of what a greeting card does. And then it got really tough for me. We had a lot of different systems running around. We had a line full of gurus, and I just kind of jumped on the what's hot, how can I make money fast? And, you know, it's tough to say, but I lost a lot of confidence. I lost a couple of legs in my group because I really could not help them at all. But it all came down to my belief in myself, my belief in the ability to build a business that we would take care of my family and I, and be a sustainable business. And that is when I was really, that inner drive that I've always had to be more and do more was really amplified, but it was really coming from fear-based. So it was a mess.
Well, let's, you know, yeah, we're guys from the Northeast, and we're going to get a little, you know, we're going to get a little cocky here. So let me just recap. So you got involved in network marketing. You came from a success background. You know, you weren't living in a box under a bridge. you know, you
Right.
have a beautiful and highly intelligent wife, so you better produce something, right? If she's gonna,
Talk about pressure.
you know, she, you know, you lose a half a step and you're gone, pal,
The
right?
fox in the river is always one around the corner for me if I don't
Right.
do.
In a van down by the river, right?
That's
But
right.
anyway, so basically, you know, like a lot of people, and I want to kind of explore this because I think it's really important. Um, like a lot of people, you came in, you were excited, and you started to follow along and assert yourself a little bit with yourself. But you said something interesting: a line of gurus. Question, your opinion. Um, uh, Duplication without standardization is a fairy tale. And over the past few years, particularly the last 5 or 6 years, since it's so easy for anybody to throw something up online, I know they think they're trying to be helpful. In my opinion, they're just a bigger part of the problem. These companies don't train people. The leaders all are putting up something different, which is preposterous since we only do four things. Ask people to look at our stuff, show them our stuff, collect a decision, and then the ones that come in, we show them how to ask people to look at our stuff, show them the stuff, and collect a decision.
Yep.
Um, do you agree or disagree with that? And
I agree.
what's your and where are you today on it?
I'm a big systems guy. I learned how to play racquetball at an early age and went to a camp when I was 16. And I was told by that guy, you will never get much better unless you learn the system. And he taught me the system. And he said, your game is going to go down for 6 months to a year. But if you stick with this system, you will develop skills and you'll have this. It's actually, we call it the third shot system. And almost to the day, 6 months later, my game took off. And from there, I was able to play pro and compete. When I learned how to do health clubs, we built the system. It was not hard. Guy comes in the club, want to lose weight, I want to do this, give you a quick tour of the club, but it had nothing to do with the club at all. A treadmill is a treadmill, a weight is a weight. And we had a system for enrolling people. When I got into network marketing, again, the second time around here, 7, 8 years ago, and when I got him to send out cards, we've got one leader who is a very prominent leader and has a nice little system. And and that's what I got involved in Master Key and Go 90, kind of melded those two together, his simple system and what I've learned and how to create duplication in the business. And it is beyond frustrating to me that there's such a market to hook. What do you call it? You throw the hook out and you reel people in that really have a lot of desire, the goals and dreams, and they believe that it's a lot more complicated than it is. But to get right back to your point, if it's not standardized, it is not going to be followed at all. It's the real bane of the existence of the profession.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it
Agree.
before. Yeah, I know we've talked about it before that there's 785,000 franchisees that do 4.4 trillion. There's 25 million network marketers that do about 50 billion. They're 100 times bigger with an inferior business model and a fraction, about 1/20th. And what's the difference? Everything in the models are the same until you get to the distributor says I can do it however I want. And we've talked about the idea of leaders unifying, which isn't going to happen because of ego. So you really have to create. What I'm hearing is you are trying to create a culture on your team. Now, a couple of times you've mentioned the Master Key experience, which is one of the ways that you and I bonded up. How important do you feel personal development is in the scheme of succeeding?
It's everything. And when I want to really clarify that what I mean by self-development, I do not mean going and getting the Book of the Month Club and listening to 2 hours of audios every day. As Tom says, he was failing for 18 months, but when he went and listened to the tapes, he just failed a lot quicker. Okay? So I don't mean that. What I mean is sitting down and discovering whatever way you have to. And I personally found that the Master Key was the thing that really worked for me. It was the system and the system that worked for me. Helped me understand when I can control what and the focus, what I have going on between my ears, and realize I was born with that one thing that I could actually control.
Right.
Nothing else I control, as Wooden says, right? You and I
Right.
talked about that too. When I learned that I could control this and I could literally, create what I need to with the snap of a finger with effortlessness and ease, and it does not come without a lot of hard work. Believe me, it's not day two and,
Right.
stuff showing up, but that development then enabled me to look at everything in the network marketing landscape, including my own company, my own product. I was able to evaluate with a critical eye how I was building, what was I saying to people, how did I organize my day and my time. I could then do that and really set my business up like a business and run it with a clear head and critical thinking.
I think what happens, in the Master Key course you're talking about, people can get the Master Key system, which is a book right here, right? They can get this, they can get the Master Key system, but I certainly could have used some guidance going through it. I think most people could. So what Sean's referring to is a course that you can grab early notification of. I'll put a link down below for them, Sean. We don't really want to turn this into a commercial for that. But basically, you were scholarshiped into that course like everybody else. You get a scholarship, and it's sort of a unique model. And it challenged you for 26, 28 weeks and still challenges you today. But what I'm hearing is that it was difficult now, but now things are easy. And this flies in the face of instant gratification, a culture that we live in. We're in a disposable instant gratification, watch any movie anytime you want, this, that, and the other. So let's talk about network marketing. You have people that come in. Most people join network marketing 6 months to a year later than they should have. They knew they were going to get laid off, but they wait till the unemployment runs out. Or they knew that their wife was going to get downsized, but they wait until it happens, and now there's a financial pressure. Do you find, and if you do, how do you deal with people that enroll? Because I think it's critical that people understand the money isn't in sponsoring people. The money is in getting more people sponsoring, and you've been great at that. Maybe it's the athletic background. You realize a rising tide raises all ships. But how do you deal with the frustrations that new people have coming in? They really need money, and this thing isn't an overnight build. But once it's built, the money that you make for what you put in is stupid the other way. It's insane.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you find that a frustration, and how do you deal with it?
I have less frustration now because I know that, I can see it coming before it happens. During the, during the beginning of the process, when we start talking and perhaps there's an opportunity here to collaborate with someone on what we do, they're talking, they're telling you everything. And I can already see what's coming down the road. I try to ease that pressure on people. Of course, honesty is the best policy. The truth is good enough. And sure, if you've got, what I let them know is we have a system. Anyone that's willing to put in the work and learn, drop the ego, work as a team, they'll be able to build a business. How fast they're going to build it, I don't know. The example I give people is this. If I offered you an opportunity with my company, and then Tom Brady or a former president or Oprah offered you the same opportunity and said you got to get to work, more than likely most people are going to go with them and get going because they've got more credibility. So I try to paint a picture for people and show them, just like in the health club business. When I was managing one club, I'm making 30 grand a year. When I was managing 14 clubs with $20 million and 200,000 members, it's the same. That was the exact same model that we had, in direct selling. Lots of leverage, lots of customers coming in. Try to paint a picture for them and then show them how we can get there.
Right.
And if they have, based on their credibility and their influence really with people in their professional, personal circles, probably going to get there a little bit quicker than if they don't. And finally, how do I deal with the frustration? Yeah, I really believe now that everything happens for a reason. There's nothing bad or good. It is what it is. It's what I make of it. And the only way that I can get through that is try to take it as a challenge. And it's going to help make me better and help make them better. But sure, I felt that frustration before, and gone out on the racquetball court or pickleball court or hit weights and try to relieve it that way. But ultimately, taking action and getting to work is the only thing that's going to solve anybody's problems.
Right.
And so the answer really just shows them that I'm trying to show them I can help them get what they want, but
Right.
they got to giddy up along with me.
Well, I think one of the big things that I've seen you do a few times is talk to people about leverage.
Mm,
If you have 30 or 40 people in your group, and let's say 10 of them are working 10 hours a week,
mm-hmm.
and you're working 10 hours a week, well, then you're putting in 10 hours, but you're getting paid for 110 hours.
Sure,
And
sure.
to get people over that bridge to understand that, what would you suggest to people? Because when you think about just that on a very small scale, let's
Mm-hmm.
not talk about, a group of, your group is huge. You're making thousands of dollars a month. You have time with your beautiful and wise ass son, right? which,
Yeah,
which is
true.
which is great, and he's keeping you sharp and physically fit. Um, but even just a group of 10 or 12 people working 10 hours a week, you're going to get paid for 120 hours a week, or about 500 hours a month, or 6,000 hours a year, just
Right.
for putting in 500 hours just with a small group.
Mm-hmm.
So the getting them over the instant gratification, I know that you like to teach skills and self-development.
Mm-hmm.
Which of those two do you put first? Do you do them simultaneously? And what would you suggest to people that are getting people in but aren't getting them to produce? Because obviously you try to get them to see the bigger picture, and then you're showing them the steps in between.
So I use two really brief stories. One is we've got an upline. Part of our up team is him. Jordan is a very
Right,
prominent network. He used the same thing. He goes, you might work Monday through Friday, 6 to 7, but if you got two people working, you're getting paid on 10 hours, right? And that they kind of grasp it. And I lay out when I asked my father after he sold his health club, what would you do differently? And I remember it like it was yesterday. He said, I would have opened up 400 clubs. Why? Well, I learned how to build a club. I learned how to get 3,500 members to join the club and pay me 45, $50 a month. I would have opened up 400, couple of months, franchise it out and earn $1 per member.
right,
It would have gone for, okay, so I just make it real for them and show them what we're doing in direct selling. People are already doing, we're already doing it. It's just nothing new. It's the same thing.
right,
When they enroll, I go right into skills. Here's why. I'm a real big believer in if you gave the company here 50 to whatever $1,000 to join, you're already somewhat motivated. You gave them money, you signed up, you're motivated.
right,
I want to capture that. I don't want to get them distracted. I want to just focus on the first 30 days of contacting, if we can, 100 people. We have our little system,
right,
and get a couple of folks enrolled. If they do that, we stop. And in month 2, or however long it takes, a month, 2.5, whatever it is, let's say 1 month, we're just repeating that. I don't want to get them too complicated.
right.
And once they rank, advance once or twice, pretty simple to do, then I give them a book, Greatest Salesman in the World. And to me, that's a great gateway into a little bit of personal development, self-development. Read it on your own, pick a chapter, do whatever you want.
Right.
Most people are going to start at the beginning.
But so basically what you're saying is you go to work, you make the calls with people and get them
Mm-hmm.
that first victory, and then ease them into some self-development, which you're saying is the most important thing. But let's get them that first touchdown. Let's get them that first completion.
If
Let's
they
move the
can
chains a little bit. Yeah.
if they can score on the opening drive and get even, I don't care, a $75 check.
Yeah.
When that check comes in, it relieves pressure in the house because, mom or dad is spending time away from the family and they know it's real. They actually got paid money. So, someone is somewhere at a corporate office cutting checks.
Right.
It becomes more real.
Right.
And yeah, Yeah, that's it. Get them a couple small victories right away, and then we can kind of see where they're at for the development side.
Well, it's been really interesting to see you go from getting off to a fast start, struggling, and then finally stop drinking the Kool-Aid and thinking that network marketing is different than any other business.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get paid differently? Yes, but the dynamic of the business and the culture that you create on your team is going to be the same in any business. It's either winning or a losing culture. So you're saying the culture on your team is get on the phone with them, get them some checks, right? It doesn't matter what they are, because that makes it real, and then ease them into self-development and steer them into heavier things as they're ready, and obviously you've
Yep.
offloaded a ton of people on me in the Master Key experience. So we always end this the same way with 10 quick questions. So just knee-jerk reaction. So
Okay.
get to know a little bit more about you, and we'll put a link. You can find out a little bit more about Sean. Who's a really good friend of mine. It's great having a Patriot fan down in Atlanta. So question number one, Sean, what's your favorite word?
Favorite word, love.
Okay. Number two, your least favorite word.
Hate and or can't.
Okay.
Tied.
All right. Three, what really turns you on either creatively, spiritually, or emotionally? What turns you on, man?
I get excited seeing things that most say cannot be done get done. I've always believed in the big comeback. I believed at 28-3 we were winning. On my heart, ask my father, because he was drinking Corona, saying no way. I really get excited when I see people break through and start rising to their potential.
Okay. What turns you off?
Negative thinking, negative Nellies.
What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, right. It changes year to year, but right now it's Daddy, are you awake?
Beautiful. And what sound or noise do you hate?
Guys, you got to come in for dinner. It's yeah.
Yeah, she didn't know that she was going to have two kids at once.
She
Right?
had no idea.
Okay.
I feel so bad for this.
Your favorite curse word?
Oh boy, it's going to be the F-bomb.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife's not going to get this link, right?
No.
Okay.
No. What profession other than your own might you like to attempt at some point?
Oh, I would love to be an two actor, and I would one day I will become a high school PE instructor.
Yeah. And what profession would you not like to do?
I would not touch being a politician with a 50-foot pole.
Yeah. Well, we got one more question, but it's just fantastic. I know pickleball is a big thing, and you're getting together. Network marketing has given Sean the chance to be a great husband, and he is a great dad, and it's given him the time, and also to pursue a dream. And now we got this pickleball thing coming up, so we'll put a link down there to your stuff around that too, which is really
Appreciate
cool
it.
for older guys like me. That Sean thinks can't still get it done on a tennis court. But anyway, last question, man. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You utilized every single ounce of potential that I granted you, and you rose up to it. Easy.
Beautiful.
Filled your potential.
Hey, man, congratulations on your MLM success. The big takeaway for me is you recognize people instant gratification driven. You get them that first victory by getting on the phone with them, get them a couple of W's, move the chains down the field, as we say in New England, keep moving the chains.
Yep.
For those of you not familiar with football, it just means moving the ball down the field, but you do it hands-on with them. And then you get them and you start to engage them in personal development. And that's why you're successful. And it's just been an honor to watch you flourish over the last few years, man. Peace be the journey. Aloha.
I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you, sir.
Okay.